You need to be ready to interview the moment you put your application forward.
Most pilots don't understand what career opportunities are available in the world of aviation. They're making career decisions based on advice from friends or posts on internet forums, meaning they are taking huge risks with their livelihood without having all the details. This podcast was created to help you understand the aviation industry so you can find your dream job. Let's get ready for Pushback. Here's your host and my dad, Nick Fialka.
Hey, pilot, good day to you. How's it going? Are you flying? Are you moving forward? Do you have your inertia helping you today to move one step forward? I know you are because you're listening to the podcast, and that's why I do this, is to help keep you motivated, keep you moving down the path, answer your questions, and get to where you want to be, because we are all searching for something. We are all trying to better ourselves every single day, and hopefully this podcast helps you do that. One of the biggest questions that I get emails, I get phone calls, people come up to me at conventions or expos, and a lot of them say the same thing. They ask the same question. And the question is this: when should I start getting ready for my interview? And that to me is a funny question, but I get it, because when I did my interviews, when I was preparing, I had no idea what's the window. What do you try to figure out to go and make it just right? Because you don't want to go too early and not be good enough. You don't want to go too late and not be prepared. What is the right answer? Another part of it is, how much money do I have? What's my budget? Where can I do all those things? And I think about that a lot. And here's what I tell people. If you are ready to apply for a job anywhere, if you want to apply for a job at Kentucky Fried Chicken, or you want to apply for a job at Goldman Sachs, or you want to apply for a job at Southwest Airlines, you need to be ready to interview the moment you put your application forward. You may not get the call for months, maybe even years, but you never know who's going to see your application and give you a call. And if you are not ready the moment you put in your application, you are going to find yourself with a ton of regret and a world of hurt. And the worst case scenario is you don't get the job because you didn't get yourself prepared. And I've seen it, and I have examples of it. When you are building your applications, it's important to understand that you are investing in yourself by investing your time, because the application process takes absolutely forever, especially if you're going to apply to more than one airline, which you always should, because airlines are a fickle thing, and the one that's hiring today is not the one that's hiring tomorrow. And everybody hires until they furlough. And so the first point I want to bring out is cast a wide net. But as you're casting that wide net, you're thinking about the fact that you need to allocate some time and money for your interview prep, because it's literally the most important day of your professional life, because there are millions and millions and millions of dollars on the table, and it's up to you to seal the deal. I was at the Women in Aviation conference, and I was doing some podcast recordings. I was doing some meet and greets with people, just saying hi and talking to people that listen to the podcast, and just having a great time. And one of the things that really sticks out in my mind is a young man comes up to me, and he is in a panic. He is freaking out because he just got an interview invite with American Airlines. He did a meet and greet, not thinking that he had enough time in an aircraft to get an actual interview. He just wanted to do the meet and greet. He had listened to the podcast and was like, yeah, man, I need to go network and make sure I get myself out there because you never know what good thing's going to happen. And so he followed the procedures. He did a meet and greet. All of a sudden, his phone rings and it's an HR person in Fort Worth asking if he can interview the following day. This person had not done interview prep at all. None, zero, wasn't even planning on it. He had published his app 2 days prior. And here he was at an inflection point. He was full of anxiety, almost shaking, just beside himself, asking me what to do and how to do it and what we could possibly do to help him. And you know what I did? I'm glad I was there. I sat down with him for a couple of hours. We went through top to bottom and did some really, really hard prep. And I sat there after the convention had closed. Everybody was already gone. The whole place was empty, this massive convention center. And I went over to another booth that had some nice chairs and we sat down for another couple hours and just went through prep and how to understand it, how to understand questions, how to articulate yourself, how to understand what your why is and how to convey that in an effective way. And it's a lot. It's a huge, everybody talks about drinking from a fire hose and that kind of thing. This is kind of like the fire hydrant got turned on and there is no hose. And it was a lot. At the end of our time, I had the conversation that I was very excited. I mean, we had done as much work as we could do. It was up to him to be ready and to focus and to really review what we had talked about. And I sent him off. It's like baby bird leaving the nest. I sent him off. He did his interview the next day and he didn't get the job. And it was lousy. I felt terrible for him, but I'll tell you what, it's nothing I could do. I spent hours of my time helping, trying to mold him, trying to help him gain the knowledge, but it's so much that you can only manage a small amount at a time. So if it is that much, then you have to break it down into bite-sized chunks because your mind your brain cannot retain all of that knowledge. Unless you're some kind of person that has an amazing ability to retain information and digest, you are going to be at a disadvantage. And you need to give yourself plenty of time. My heart breaks for that guy because he didn't get the job. And he's probably listening to this podcast and knows that's him. And you know what? It's okay because it's all about how you pick yourself up. It's all about how you move on. It's all about how you recover and you grow from it. If you're listening and that's you, I want you to know that. Pick yourself up and grow from it. If you just lost the national championship game, well, guess what? We start training again in 4 weeks. So get back on it. Get ready for next year's season. Get into it. Get your reps going because what you want to do is come with even more intensity. If you're a person putting your application in, you need to be ready to interview. If you're thinking, oh, that's a lot of money to spend, the first thing I'll tell you is, what is your career worth? Yeah, it's a lot of money because it's a really good product. And there's a ton of coaches out there helping you, offering their time, offering their expertise, and making you amazingly better. When I was going through my interview prep, I looked at it as if, yeah, this is a huge investment in myself and in my family, but also it's my second job. I am paying. This is my internship. That's how it was. And I went in with a vigor and an intensity that nobody was going to tell me no. And that's how I want you to do it as well. A side note, all about the Spitfire stuff, it doesn't expire. So you come and you do the interview prep, you get a membership in, you are in it for life. And so even if it is 2 years until you have your interview, First off, you're ready and you're amazing. And it's not going to be 2 years because you're the person that's going to get out there and network. Second, it's a great place to make friends, and those friends will guide you and lead you to greener pastures, if you will. They'll lead you to people and connections that you never thought you would get. And that has been my experience, and I think that's been the experience of countless others. So when you are preparing yourself to apply for an airline job, I don't care if it's a regional job, I don't care if it's a 135 or a 91 or 91K or 121 or whatever it is. If you're going to be in front of somebody that makes a hiring decision, you need to prepare yourself and you need to be ready so you don't have to get ready.
Hey, before you jump out of here and go on to the next podcast, can I ask a big favor? Would you mind going over to your app that you're listening to this podcast on and give me a review? Give me a 5-star review if you love it. Give me a 1-star review if it totally sucks. Put a comment in there, something that is helpful. It helps me. It helps get the word out there. It helps people find the podcast, and that's super cool. If you don't do that, maybe you could just share the podcast with a friend. Tell a buddy who's trying to figure it out, trying to sort out this pilot dream of theirs and get a little bit further. That is super awesome as well. Last, if you don't do either of those two things, how about this? Find a way today to make yourself 1% better. Do that thing that you've been putting off. Put your foot forward, make movement, get yourself going, get that inertia that you need to succeed in this industry. So that's your choice. Leave a review, tell a friend, or make yourself better. Either way, it's all a good choice. And I'm super stoked you're listening, and I will see you on the next episode. The statements made on this show are my own opinions and do not reflect, nor are they under any direction from my employer.